What's going on, y'all? KMBest here, fresh off of a 14-3 run with a deck that is frankly on nobody's radar. It took me up to rank 11. Let's talk about it. Over the last few days, I've talked about a couple of different topics in my videos, largely relating to how to beat the current metagame. One of the recurring things is that Killmonger is excellent against techno-organic virus decks, Shadow King is very solid against Silver Surfer Captain Carter buff decks, and of course Mobius M. Mobius is the best card you can play if you're afraid of people Sasquatching and gambiting all over you. So what deck can we reasonably play all three of those cards in? The answer came from my old friend KM Worst. This is his list, and I actually covered it in brief talking about underrated decks, but even I was underrating it because this deck felt basically unbeatable despite the fact that it looks like it's not really doing anything. And I think that's sort of the secret. This is a deck that is doing just enough to allow the tech cards to actually handle all of the things that get thrown at it. You have just enough in terms of point output between things like Marrow and Bucky Barnes, Fantomidrange himself, even Zombie Captain Marvel doing a decent amount of work, and then those three tech cards are just carrying you through the rest of the game. This is a deck where the goal is to make sure that whatever your opponent is doing doesn't happen, and if it does, is worse than what they expected it to be. That is the ethos behind this deck, and the tech card package works particularly well with what Fantomidrange is doing in the context of Marrow existing. Fantomidrange, Marrow, tech cards. Do not be surprised if your opponents end games with single-digit power values at multiple locations. That is what this deck can really make happen, and that kind of stuff is a very powerful deterrent to what has been a fairly maximal combo-focused Marvel Snap that we've been in recently. It's not as maximal as it was with Sholau and Star-Lord, but that is still kind of the story of the day. If you ask most high infinite grinders, they'll tell you the strongest card in Marvel Snap is probably Mother Ascani. And what this deck is doing is saying all of that stuff just isn't going to be as good as you think it is. I'm going to drag you down to my level and beat you with experience, and also with really relevant tech cards. The Hood is a fairly straightforward card in this list. Fantomidrange requires you to have destroyed a card and to have discarded a card. The Hood is a very easy destroy target. Hood, Bucky Barnes, and Marrow are typically the things you're going to look to blow up. The output of each of them is 6 to 7 power, depending on which one you're actually doing. That's a very reasonable piece of output for something that you have to do in order for your main game plan to function. Now, you do not want to be super greedy with playing out demons early. If you think you're going to be in a matchup against Killmonger type stuff, you don't want your stuff to go away, but you can play demons out if you have already determined that this is not going to be a matchup where Killmonger is playing a big role. Blade is the other half of what you're trying to do. You need to discard a card as well as destroy a card if you want to be playing some serious Fantomidrange gaming, and this is a totally reasonable way to make sure you can discard a card. You are very rarely going to actually do something like hit Marrow off of this, but it's very nice if you're able to pull it off. Just don't be too greedy with it. Again, as a one-cost card, if you're in a Killmonger matchup, this is typically a card you're going to be playing much, much later. In fact, I think most of the time I played Blade, it was on turn 6. In terms of payoffs for the Fantomidrange archetype, I think you could reasonably argue that Wild Child is actually better than Fantomidrange pound for pound. Fantomidrange is great, like that could be up to 15 power off of a guy like that. Like that's an awesome thing for you to have. Sorry, more than 15 power. He's a 4/7 now. Good lord, he could be 19 power. This is, though, a 2/9, and it's a lot easier to use this card than it is to use Fantomidrange. If you draw Fantomidrange on the final turn of the game, you can't use him. If you draw Wild Child on the final turn of the game, that's awesome. You love playing something like a Demon, a Wild Child, and then one of your tech cards, right? Demon, Wild Child, and Shadow King, or Killmonger, Demon, Wild Child. That's the stuff that this deck does on the final turn of the game, and it's really, really good. Just the ability to work on turn 6 is what puts her ahead of Fantomidrange to me. Even though Fantomidrange is a better card for the numbers, you would not probably play this deck if Wild Child didn't exist. I called the Bucky Barnes buff to 2/2 totally meaningless and challenged everyone to find a more meaningless point of power, and like, yeah, it's never mattered. It's never once mattered that Bucky has 2 power. I could sit here and pretend like it does. There is not a single card in this deck that will ever make it matter. The only way it will ever matter is if you are leaving a Bucky Barnes on the board and you win that lane by 1 power. Just simply is not a thing that ever comes up. But Met 2-7, not bad. I prefer the Hood and I prefer Marrow. I think both of them are better versions of what this card is in this deck. The Hood because it costs less and can get killed by your own Killmonger if you don't necessarily have the other things that work. And of course, Marrow is just going to be really, really, really impactful across multiple lanes in a way Bucky Barnes will never do. And when one of the things that you're killing is, one of the things that you're using to kill things like this off is something like a zombie Captain Marvel, it can often be better when you're trying to like hard target 2 lanes to have the 7 go across multiple lanes and then Zombie Captain Marvel figure it out from there than it is to leave 7 behind Zombie Captain Marvel. It, you know, touch and go. He's definitely 3rd place for me of the ones that you're trying to blow up. Carnage is just a classic Marvel Snap card. Really, really solid ability to destroy stuff. What I like about Carnage is mostly that he costs 2, and that's really all you need here. We only have 3 real ways to destroy stuff in this deck. Carnage is obviously important because you need a volume of ways to destroy stuff. You have Killmonger for your 1-drops, you have Zombie Captain Marvel, and you have Carnage. And Carnage just being cheap helps you pull off plays on the final turn of the game that you otherwise wouldn't necessarily be able to do. We talked about like the games where you're playing a demon and a wild child. That's when everything goes well. But what if you haven't done any of the stuff that you're trying to do? I mean, like a final turn Carnage and a Gambit will enable you to actually have your Phantom X fully on, remove some stuff from the board. All that's just really, really strong. I've been on Marrow Island for a while in the sense that this is a card that I have thought for an extended period of time is just like, this is just really good. This is just a really good card if you can do basically any of the things it's asking for. I talked about it in yesterday's video with the Silver Samurai version of the Virus deck playing Marrow, just because 7 power for free is actually just that amazing. And it's not just 7 power for free, it's 7 power distributed across multiple lanes in a metagame that is very focused on like, there are several decks that are like, I'm going to copy my stuff, and having 7 power applied to them negatively can meaningfully negatively impact them. And that is just also unbelievably strong. Now, there is the notable downside of like, you are a Shadow King deck, and so timing will matter on this. That's part of what Zombie Captain Marvel brings to this card, is the ability to time it when you want it to happen. So you can do something like Shadow King a lane and then blow up a Marrow that you played on the final turn of the game, because Zombie Captain Marvel being an activate destroy is actually kind of the best thing about her, because she lets you do that little timing play. And Marrow combined with Phantom X is a pretty massive debuff across your opponent's board. You get 7 from the Marrow. You get presumably, like maybe they don't have all of their lanes filled, but you probably get like -10 off the Phantom X most of the time. That's a really big deal. That's a really powerful thing, especially when so many people are playing these Surfer decks that are really focused on having Captain Carters that are actually handing off buffs that matter. This is one of the best decks at beating that kind of stuff, not just because of this stuff, but also Shadow King. One of the big things you'll notice when you play this deck is how few things your opponents are going to have on the board and how few actual power they're going to have. And obviously normal Gambit, you know, he's kind of a bridge between the overarching strategy of this deck, which is remove your opponent's stuff from the board. Whether there's power on the board, you get rid of it. When there's cards on the board, you get rid of them, right? That's the overarching metagame strategy, is my opponent just really doesn't get to play this game. Like, I am going to take apart everything they're trying to do. Gambit obviously works with that, but he also works with our slightly more literal strategy, which is Phantom X needs you to discard cards, and so Gambit's awesome for that. You only ever play him on turn 6 most of the time, but hey, that's pretty good. I could wax poetic about Killmonger in this metagame basically forever. Your opponent's playing Shadowlands Daredevil. Oh, look, those demons are gone. Your opponent's playing Techno-Organic Virus. Oh, look, they're totally gone. And that's really all you need to say about this card being good right now, is there are so many people doing whatever version of Techno-Organic Virus they feel like playing. And frankly, I think the best versions of them are actually the ones that are the most vulnerable to Killmonger, which of course changes whether or not they're going to be the best versions as more people start playing Killmonger style decks. But against those decks, it's just like a 320. This is just like a 20 power card in those matchups. It's unbelievably powerful. It is usually a snap condition against anything trying to do it. There are going to be like some decks that are being weird with it, right? Like decks that are playing the Nightmare deck from my people that are playing the Nightmare deck from my video yesterday, the butt list. They're getting a little weird with it. He's still good there, though. Like, it's very hard for anyone to play a TOV deck that doesn't involve a couple 1-drops. And if those 1-drops are going to be on the board, if you're playing stuff like Debris and you're using them to get TOV value, well, it's good to get rid of them. Arguably the defining card of this metagame, I think maybe you'd say Mother Ascani, and, you know, Mobius exists in the context of Mother Ascani. In as much as Mother Ascani exists, she's a big part of why Mobius exists. Mobius is not only a good way to stop the bleeding against Mother Ascani, not only a thing that techno-organic virus decks are going to play in order to make their virus cheaper, but also just a card that is the best thing you can do against Gambit spam decks. And those decks are pretty concerning for a deck like this because basically everything we play dies to enough gambits. If they have enough gambits, we are kind of in trouble. And so what we need to do is use Mobius in order to prevent them from running downhill. What I mean by that is in order to get Gambit to actually happen, they have to play 6 energy of created cards. In order for them to play 6 energy of created cards, a lot of the deck's strategy rely on cheating, right? Mother Ascani's going to cheat energy. My Quinjet's going to cheat energy. My Valentina's going to cheat energy. My Iron Patriot's going to cheat energy. And that's going to allow me to get to not just 6 energy of created cards, but also like multiple Gambits are going to come down because of that. If you have a Mobius, those lines just mostly don't happen. Like they can, but they mostly don't. And when they are able to actually get a Gambit activated, their power level is so low because they've devoted so much energy actually to it instead of cheating all their requirements that you can kind of win with like, you know, Marrow and things like that and just like negative power to their board. And it's like, oh, you know, that's actually not that bad when they don't have 75 Gambits that all cost 1, right? Like that's really the idea that you're trying to stop here. Shadow King, I think, definitely a fairly distant third behind Killmonger and Gambit right now, but that could change. Largely, this is a card that we run because of the Surfer matchup, the Captain Carter combo matchup, and it's very nice to have him around. But we have like a lot of this deck devoted to that matchup. Phantom X particularly is good into baseline Captain Carter stuff. We have Mobius for their Ascani. That deck is just so resilient, though, that it is the kind of thing that we do need that third tech card for. And we're never going to actually be sad at playing Shadow King in basically any Marvel Snap meta at this point. There's just so many things that do green power just off of things that may happen that like he's just a pretty nice card for you to have around. And when he's not good, you're not really too upset. You're usually going to need to discard some cards anyway. So might as well give Gambit some fuel. I was pretty impressed with Zombie Captain Marvel. Like not the most amazing card in the world, but does some things that not any other card in the game will do, which is to say mostly what I like about her is just she is a destroy outlet that you can use at whatever time you choose. So like, let's say you top deck a Bucky on the final turn of the game, you put it in her lane. You top deck a Marrow, you put it in her lane. Like all of that stuff is actually the good bit, right? And because this deck is so good at restricting opposing point outputs, you can kind of just like have her be the biggest thing on the board a decent amount of the time. Like largely the most impressive thing that she does is that she's an activate destroy outlet for multiple cards, which no other card in Marvel Snap is. That's really what you're trying to do with her. But she's also just genuinely pretty impressively large enough of the time that you're happy with her. Phantom X himself is a pretty cool card. I know it's sort of easy to be like, this is a Phantom X deck. And it's like, yeah, I mean, it is a Phantom X deck. Obviously, when you turn for this, it's a good thing to do. It's like kind of what the deck is built around. It's like your big power spike or whatever. But largely, this is a deck that is predicated more on what deck can I play that plays Mobius, Shadow King, Killmonger, right? Like this deck is really answering that question more than it's like, I want to be a Phantom X deck. How do I make a Phantom X deck? The Phantom X shell is just one that can support these cards in a meaningful way and is already sort of working with the ethos of, I would like to prevent my opponents from having more power than 8 on the board, right? Like that is sort of a simpatico kind of way to think about playing Marvel Snap. And so he's kind of a natural fit here, but it's, you know, also possible that this isn't necessarily going to be the only place that you can play those 3 tech cards in a meaningful way. It is not lost on me that those 3 tech cards are all cards that cost 3, and maybe I should just be playing Surfer or something like that as the point package here. But Fantomix is the one I played. Fantomix is the one that I had the 14-3 record with. Fantomix got me to rank 11. We're talking about Fantomix. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for getting this far in the video. We are going to jump into some gameplay. I hope you enjoy the gameplay, and I hope you enjoyed the video. As always, I've been KMBest. That's been KMCat. You've been phenomenal, and I will see you in the next one. That's fucking unpleasant. Enjoy, fucker. Oh, jeez. Well, they're probably the Surfer deck. Passing this much and doing this seems pretty... A Surfer thing is happening. Energy, please! Oh, that's probably just the Ascani, right? Good card. We're gonna play 2 Gambits. Could still die, but 2 Gambits is 2 Gambits. Play only the second Gambit because first one hits Storm. What? How could... What? They're taking too long, Snap. I doubt that. Play only the first game because the second one hits Storm. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so it was... They have a Grandmaster there. That's... Alright. I mean, there's obviously a bunch of scary shit that's about to happen here, right? I don't know, dude. Probably dying. Swap first and second Gambit. You know what? Okay. I got you, Husky. I think I'm dead, personally. Okay, first Gambit did not hit Storm. Neither did the second Gambit. How dead are we? Dead. Super dead. Fucking dead as shit. Wait. We won a tiebreaker. Holy shit. Arashim gamer. You misordered though? I ordered correctly. You misordered. You accidentally didn't swap? No, I did, though. That's the problem. It did happen. Not that I'm opposed to calling Husky washed. I think that's great. RSM with no cards. If this matchup wasn't so abysmal, I'd be snapping right now. Unfortunately, this matchup is ass. Fucking trash, bro. Holy shit. They skipped. I gotta imagine I'm dead. I'm pretty sure we beat specifically the card The Infinite and approximately nothing else. Like, they're gonna, like, She-Hulk the shit out of me or something, right? What if we snap this? Then we die to She-Hulk. It's the She-Hulk guy. I think we're just dead, personally. I think we're just dead. These guys are saying snap. What's going to happen is we're going to lose. I'm going to be like, you're ridiculous. Why would I ever have snapped that? And they're going to be like, but if you snapped it, you wouldn't have lost. Can't you see the future here, chat? That's just absolutely what the fuck is happening. I've never seen anything that's happening more than that. That's bad. Oh, it hit the marrow. It's actually kind of nice. I assume we're still dead? The Wild Child gets more power off this discard, and then Phantom X activates. Oh my god, we win. Oh my god, Phantom X, you fucking... Wait, Strife. I should have snapped. I'm sorry. You guys were right all along. Victory. I should have predicted the Strife Deathlock. That's how it is. I think we mostly like card draw. Well, see, the reason we like card draw is so we can play cards. We just don't actually get to fucking play anything. Is that correct? Okay, we get this Destroyer off of this Carnage here pretty much every time. Snap this. I need to know what he's doing first, but it's Doom 2099? Negative? No way. No way. If it is negative, I have Mobius. I mean, I don't have him, but like... Damn, that Shadow King is gonna go fucking crazy. That Shadow King is gonna go absolutely fucking apeshit. Really? Okay. That is really good. And it's like a... Yeah, man. That's a 12 power Iska if I've ever seen one. Why ZCM? He's great there. Requires me to play, like... It doesn't beat me playing, like, 2 power, I think. But, yes. Shouldn't we have gambited first in case it hit Iska? Why? Like, what does the order have to do with anything? Is largely what the question I'd be asking there. Ooh. I'm not snapping them getting my goddamn Phantom X, dude.
Opponent snapped.
I'm only staying in this game because I have Killmonger, and since they played Ebony Maw, it's like kind of a thing, right? Part of me is like, you should just gambit this shit right now. I'm not gonna, but like, part of me is like, that's the move. Larval's kind of crazy. Hydro Man, hello. No, I'm just gonna draw Killmonger. It's honestly fine. Okay, it's no longer fucking fine. Okay, hold on. Hold on.
I want the throne.
Hold on. She is gonna go over there, right? And win us this game on this lizard.
Further faster, baby.
I'm a fucking god. I'm a fucking god. Okay? You guys just genuinely wouldn't understand what it's like to be me. Okay? This zombie Captain Marvel is gonna go so crazy. I don't know what Adam Warlock means here, though. The zombie Captain Marvel is gonna go insane. Ego just cost Husky 8 cubes. Jesus Christ. Can I snap this? I'm gonna. Wait. Figured it out. Did I forget to activate Phantom X? It literally doesn't matter. Ain't that funny? I did forget to activate Phantom X. It doesn't matter. But it could have.
I want the throne.
You feel me? It could have mattered. Boy. Not great. Probably a lot better for them than it is for me, if I had to guess. I don't like this. Entirely useless. Phenomenal. All right. I can assume they're not a one-drop deck. Horrifying. 4, 4, 5, 2. Okay, let's see what happens. There are some hits that would happen, so it's just 7 plus 4, 4. 15. I have number. I don't know. We're probably dead. Surfer. Well, we know they don't have double brood. The card was a red guardian. This is a hella gamer. We cannot win. Okay, we can't. We found our win condition. We found our win condition, baby. I'm not allowed to snap this is the problem. Even though I should, right? Like... At this point, I probably can. Oh, Jesus. At this point, I can't anymore.
Oh, snap.
They're gonna, like, Legion the shit or something, and we're gonna die. These are both on, so it's like... I'm pretty sure I did my math here correctly. Give me out, Gambit left, Carnage mid. I'm not going to do that. Why not Gambit? I mean, I could. I don't know. What is it, -8 over here? I could play the Gambit, but it just seems way worse. Feels like a much stronger play. I mean, the Jubilee's sick. I don't think there's a card in their deck that wins them more than that lane, because we have 2 Phantom X's. I don't know why they stayed, but I'm grateful.
Victory.